Welcome back to the Becoming Number One podcast, where our goal and mission is to help you become the best version of yourself while we are on our own pursuit to become the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Like shit,
I
but
think
we're
everybody
here.
can probably see on the camera how
That's
you're
not
feeling.
nice.
Buddy walks in this morning, and his eyes look like death. Death itself.
Well, I feel like there's a bug going around.
Yeah, and you better not give it to me.
You're going to get it.
No, don't. You better knock on wood right now. Because I can't get it, and I've already told you why. So if you give it to me, well, it looks like there's going to be one less host on this show.
Damn, you.
Yeah.
My immune system's stronger.
But he did just laugh a little bit earlier, and he doesn't sound too bad. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping we can roll this long enough to pump a couple out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, how was your day?
How was my day?
Yeah.
Well, being that it is about 8:07 in the morning, my day's been okay. Started off with a workout. Well, I guess sort of two workouts. A little bit of walking and then some lifting.
Nice.
Drank some coffee. Ate a yogurt. And here I am.
Wow.
Sitting next to your sick ass.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. But we'll, pending your health, we'll jump into this one. This is something that...
Pending my health.
Yeah. You literally made the comment, what if I just died right now?
Well, I said that would suck.
Well,
for everybody,
yeah, you said
everybody that
me.
loves me.
He went into a back room to go change, and he said, what if I just died right now?
That'd
and I
suck.
said, well, that'd be bad because I'd have to clean you up.
Okay, enough.
So
what are we talking about today?
We're talking about burnout, but more so how to never burn out. Because what I've come to realize, and the more I dove into this, burnout is it's a strategy problem more than it's a work and output problem. It's everybody's, I hear this a lot lately. I'm just in this season of life. I'm in my hot girl season. I'm in my, I'm in my grind season. I'm in my whatever season. But that actually, it's a powerful concept, going through seasons in life.
Yeah.
For me, from a training background and like an exercise science background, I came to know this as periodization. And it's basically strategically and for a specific amount of time, having a certain intensity, volume, etc., but you don't continue that forever. So it's for specific periods, you're going at a specific intensity, specific volume, and then you do something different. You go through cycles, you go through seasons. And that's how you're able to maintain a level of progress almost indefinitely without getting bored, burning out, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll dive into these. But ultimately, whether it's high-performing athletes, CEOs, people of success to any degree, they go through seasons, they go through cycles. They're building, then they're strategizing, then they're reaping the benefits, then they're et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They go through the same seasons.
Yeah, I don't think burnout's the problem. I think a lack of drive is the problem because, as you see, there's the most successful people in the entire world that quote unquote don't burn out. They're going through different seasons essentially, right? Just like you mentioned, all those different seasons. And I think people like to hold on to the idea of burning out so they can use it as a cop-out to be able to kind of take the foot off the gas because things got hard.
I agree with that, yes and no. And the example...
But here's the thing. That is my mindset on it because I personally don't believe in burnout because I'm not going to let it affect me. So that's why I think that.
Well, the example I want to touch on, you've been a really big fan and proponent of 75 hard, right? You've done it a handful of times. You've done not just the typical 75 hard, but you've done the live hard, which is let's just say a more extreme, longer, drawn out sequence of the same type of stuff. And it was it this year? Maybe it was last year. You did a lot. Like I'd say it was damn near a majority of the year you were on a specific part of either live hard or 75 hard. But I specifically remember you, I think it was at the beginning of this year, you were about to get off of it and you were toying with the idea of doing it again. And in my mind, I was like, Jesus, fuck, dude. You've just done this like most of the year. You're going to do it again? But then I remember you saying like, no, like I need a break from that. And whether this is or isn't what it was, what I saw was that you realized if you continue to do this, you're not going to have the passion, you're not going to have the drive, you're not going to have the basically the urge to keep on doing this. Yeah. Eventually you're going to get fed up and you're going to say, no, fuck this.
Well, I was going into a different season, and I was losing a lot of weight, as you know, and I needed to stop losing weight because I don't need to lose weight. But I mean, for me, it was, I could have done it again, absolutely, because my mind is strong enough to be able to endure something like that. Me personally, I wanted to pivot to something else.
Let me ask you this, because I don't doubt that you would have been able to push through it again. But in you, let's say you did take that route. Something, I challenged you or somebody challenged you and said, I bet you can't do it again. You said, fuck you, I can't. Yeah. And you did it again. That's
exactly what I would have said.
Would your motivation, would your energy levels have been the same all throughout
because someone told me you won't do it.
Well, you might be an anomaly, which ain't bad. But this is.
But that's how I think. That's the only thing that separates. Because you said I might be an anomaly. That's the only thing that separates my mindset from somebody else's of the burnout. Is I believe that I could do it because it would give me extra fire. It's all a mindset. It's nothing physical. It's all mind.
What I do think is physical though is energy. Because and I say this from my own experience, but also seeing that of a lot of people too, is I attribute the same thing as dieting or the same thing as budgeting. Mm-hmm. It's in a sense, it's restriction, right? And if you restrict really hard for too long, eventually, and I think this is just natural, you get bored, you get tired, you lose the drive, you lose the sight of the vision, you're at some point going to see a dip. You cannot just go like this forever. That is not physically possible.
Let's talk about the energy thing that you just said though, because you said it's physical. Uh-huh. Energy, in a sense, can be controlled.
Sort of.
In a sense. So people that have a lack of energy, we're talking about the physical state. Well, what are they putting in their body? Uh-huh. Are they moving their body? Are they drinking water? Mm-hmm. Right? Like all those things you can control. So if you don't have the energy to do something, one, your mind's jacked up because you're telling yourself that you don't have the energy to do something. Two, you're not doing the right things to your body to be energized. What time are you going to bed? What time are you waking up? What are you eating? What are you consuming? Are you doing things that are literally like doom scrolling? Because that's going to drain your energy. So I do think a lot of energy is controlled. Personally.
Interesting. And I don't like fully disagree with you at all. Because I think you're right. A big part of people's energy is, what are they nourishing? That's a huge part of energy, is nourishment. Are you drinking enough? Are you eating the right foods? Are you exercising? Are you going to bed at a good hour? All of those are going to have more significant impacts on your actual energy than mindset. Yeah. It is the two going.
Do you have a good attitude? Like, if you have a bad attitude, you're not going to have the energy or the stamina to do it. Attitude can change everything.
Yeah.
If you have a great attitude, you're not going to slow down, or you're not going to be sluggish if you have a good attitude.
Well, I think you're a lot less likely to do that.
Yeah.
And at least the example of burnout that keeps coming back to me is you cannot go 100% forever. Like, a person's mindset, a person's nourishment of their body will take them a lot farther than most people, but it is not possible to go to 100% forever.
I agree.
Just like an engine. You can't go fucking 9,000 RPMs forever. The engine will literally blow up.
Yeah.
So what does it do? I think that's a good analogy, actually. It's the RPM of your car. If you're trying to go as fast as physically possible, a car has to shift gears. So what happens? Let's say you redline it to 9,000 RPMs. You and I both know if you're at that 9,000 forever, engine's going to blow up. But when you shift, everybody sees this in their car. They can feel it in their car. Say you're at 9,000, you shift up to the next gear, and it drops. And then, if you're pedal to the metal, it's instantly going to shoot up to 9,000 again. You shift again, it drops. up to 9,000, shift again, drops, go up to 9,000. That's periodization. That's seasons. It's just happening within a couple of seconds. And
Good.
seasons don't need to be years long.
Correct.
I mean, let's say for athletes, a season could be, they could be in a building season for 2 months, 3 months. They could go through a recovery season for, a few weeks, maybe a month. And then they're back in a building season. Or maybe they spend a strategizing season in there for a couple of weeks. These don't have to be long, drawn-out seasons. You can spend most of your time in building, as I think most of us should, because building is where most of the growth happens.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a misconception, is that a season has to be 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Well, let's talk about why burnout gets caused again. Burnout.
Okay.
So lack of drive.
Yeah.
No clear destination of where they're trying to go.
Yep.
I guess bad attitude.
Bad attitude can be a huge one.
No energy to do so.
Yep.
Okay.
Going too hard without without a purpose, without a destination, which leads to getting bored.
Okay.
I would say those are a lot of things.
And not doing something that they enjoy.
And not doing something, exactly. And that ties into a why.
Yeah.
If you don't have a why, you don't have passion behind what you do, of course you're going to lose sight of it. Of course you're not going to be able to go super hard at it forever.
Okay. So we know that we need to have a vision of what's the clear end goal? What's the destination that we're trying to reach, right? Got to have a good attitude. That you can control. 100%. You can control your attitude. The next one, enjoy what you're doing. So maybe your work, maybe it's not like, I love this so much. Like I'm in love with it. But like you like it enough to enjoy it. You can find joy in it. So what I would say with that, what you need to find joy in is maybe another hobby that you have. Because if you can fill your time outside of, the mission that you're currently on, like I'll give you an example. Me and Aidan, we'll play pickleball in the summer.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy that. That charges me up. That's fun. Right? It's not destructing me. I'm not going backwards by doing that. But that's something that we could stop. We could take a break with what we're doing and we could go play pickleball.
It's a pattern disruptor for you.
Exactly.
Because you have a very high tolerance for just literally putting your head down and working extremely hard for long amounts of time. But at the end of the day, sometimes you need a pattern disrupt, even if it's literally for an hour to go play pickleball. But what does that pattern disrupt do? It
charges you up.
It charges you up, and it's almost like hitting the recharge or the reset button for you. And that way, even if you just spent the last 6 hours literally grinding straight, that hour break of pickleball is going to allow you to come back and grind for another 6 and be just as energized, just as driven as you were for the first 6.
Yep.
And everybody needs something like that in some regard.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every hour, but it's something that you should do, that you should take a break from, the work that you're doing. Go out, do something that you enjoy, and then come back. And now you're back on track and you're working. And I think the biggest one out of all of this is just having a clear idea of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like if you can have that, that's going to, because you're going to be working towards that every single day, right? And if you are working towards that every single day, you're going to feel fulfilled because you're doing the work that was necessary to be able to go to where you wanted to go. And then in between that, you sprinkle in the pickleball, or you sprinkle in the, going to the gym, or spending the time with the kids or the family.
Yeah.
But this is where people run into the issue. You can't have more of the break than the actual work. And that's, I think, where a lot of people get mixed up. There's this we talked about this misconception about balance.
Yeah.
Balance doesn't really work. You can't, all right, 50% of my time I'm going to be playing pickleball, 50% of the time I'm going to be working.
Yeah, there's never going to be an even balance is more so what it is. You're right. Unless you're at this point in your life, and I don't think anybody, unless they're 50, 60, 70, and have actually done their due service and made their life, you can't have 50-50.
Yeah.
You got to be working more than you're not, period.
I agree.
But I think we were talking about this before. I actually really like the idea of having shorter-term goals, shorter-term vision. So one of the things that you said is you got to know where you're going. You got to have something that you're working towards. That's going to already help solve the problem of motivation, of a why, of purpose, of energy. of a right attitude, if you're working towards something that you're passionate about, a goal, all of those should come a lot easier. Not that you're going to have to remind yourself to keep your head on straight, but they're going to be easier than if you didn't have this. But for me personally, sometimes it's hard to focus on the time frame of a year.
Yeah.
A year's a long time. And a prime example for me is this full Ironman. This is something that's probably going to be at the latter end of the year. And if I think about training 2 times a day, probably 3 or 4 times a week for the entirety of a year, that's a little daunting. That's I get a little drained just thinking about that. But what have we got in the middle of the year? What have we got in June? We got that half Ironman.
Yeah.
And that's a huge event. And if I can just set my focus on, hey, for the next 6 months, I'm not even thinking the year yet. For the next 6 months, I got this big event in 6 months. Okay, I'm going to need to train 2 times a day, probably 3 or 4 times a week. Still going to have to train at least once the rest of the days. Okay, I can get behind that. That's satiable. I can still have the drive, the motivation, the energy to do that. And then I'm going to get the reward, which is accomplishing and completing that goal.
Yeah.
Then I can set my sight on the next. So I like having these shorter time periods that I know work for me. A year for me might be too long for some things. 6 months, totally doable. But you might be different. For you, you might have to set 90-day, 3-month intervals. Maybe you can go a full year. I don't know. Point is, figure out a time period that works for you that you know you can stay motivated. You can have high energy the whole time. You can have the drive to tackle every single day as you did the one before and the one after. I think that's important.
I think routine's really big too. Like having a routine where maybe you can build some of those things that we talked about into your daily routine. So that way, like, hey, at this time, you can take a step away and focus on recharging up, right? Because like our life is like the phone. Think of it. There's a battery life in it. You can charge it to 100% and then it can go down to 10% and then it could die. And we always have to charge it up. And I want you to think about yourself as the phone. You have to plug it in. You have to charge yourself up to get back to 100%. And it's going to be different for each person what that charger is.
Yeah. And I think some of the big things I'd like people to take away is being more strategic. I really don't think that burnout is a work problem. It's a strategy problem. And a lot of this comes down to taking the time to know yourself. Are you the type of person that can grind for a year straight? If you are, then fucking do it. But if you're not, what is a time period that you actually could before you need a reset? Is it 6 months? Is it 3 months? What is it? Figure that out for yourself. So in order to really unlock the secret for you to never burn out, you first need to reflect on, hey, what are the amounts of time that I can go just grinding before I need a break? How long of a break do I need? You need to figure all that out and you need to come up with a plan. I know for the next 3 months, I'm grinding. I'm doing everything that I said I need to do. I'm waking up at this time. I'm going for this long. I'm doing X, Y, Z. At the end of that 3 months, well, guess what? I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to go on a trip or I'm going to go do this or that. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to spend 1 more week. I'm going to strategize. I'm going to come up with a plan for my next 3 months. And then I'm going to go execute again. And then all of a sudden, if you're going to look at it, you would have gone like this, like this, like this, like this, and it's going to keep going. But what's the difference? Most people go like this for a long time, and then they take a damn plunge off the cliff. Don't be like that. And a lot of it comes down to strategy. So go out, reflect on this, try to come up with some things for yourself that are going to work, and try to plan out the next 3 to 6 months of your life. Come up with your building phase, your strategy phase, your planning phase. These don't need to be long periods. They can be weeks, couple weeks at a time. But go out, strategize, and don't burn out.